Look at the intricate web of global banking today. Trillions of dollars cross borders every second, guarded by heavily encrypted routing systems and massive fraud prevention divisions at agencies like the FBI. Trace the architecture of those security measures back to their origins, and you'll find an unexpected source. These trillion-dollar protections rely on logic first developed by a teenager with no college degree and zero formal background in law enforcement. This is Frank Abagnale Jr. He spent his early years exploiting global financial networks as a major security threat, eventually using that same expertise to design the fraud detection protocols used by banks today. The deepest flaws in a supposedly secure system are often completely invisible to the people who build it, and glaringly obvious to the one person audacious enough to break in. Born in New York in 1948, Abagnale's early life was marked by sudden instability. When his parents divorced, the emotional foundation of his childhood fractured right along with them. By the time he was 16, he had run away from home entirely. Finding himself alone on the streets, he turned to petty theft out of a stark need to survive. What he discovered along the way was a unique cultural blind spot. In the 1960s, American society operated on an immense amount of blind trust. If someone simply looked the part, institutions rarely communicated with each other to verify their identity. His desperation led him right to the edge of a massive, unmonitored vacuum in institutional security. He stepped right in. His first major escalation targeted the most prestigious airline of the era, Pan Am. Abagnale decided he was going to fly the world for free by posing as one of their official pilots. He managed to acquire an authentic uniform by claiming he'd lost his at a hotel and successfully forged the necessary airline identification documents. This diagram maps out the exact logistical flow he exploited, known in the industry as deadheading. When airlines need to move an off-duty pilot to a new city for their next shift, they let them ride in a spare jump seat without requiring a standard passenger ticket. Abagnale walked right up to the gate agents. Because he wore the wings and spoke the jargon, the staff happily waved him onto the plane. The uniform itself completely bypassed all standard verification. Abagnale targeted the human psychological bias toward authority. To airline staff, the presence of a sharp uniform served as more reliable proof of identity than any background check. Free flights eventually weren't enough. Abagnale transitioned to printing his own money, building an empire of forged checks by targeting the physical, paper-based reality of mid-century banking. This map tracks the physical journey of a bank transaction in the 1960s. A check cashed in New York, drawn on a California bank, had to be physically flown across the country to a clearinghouse. This created a massive structural verification time delay. Abagnale printed fake account routing numbers to intentionally maximize that delay. He would deposit a forged check, withdraw the cash, and vanish days before the bank finally realized the paper was completely worthless. The scale of the theft quickly reached into the millions. Authorities examining the paper trail were baffled, assuming this level of precise, systematic theft had to be the work of a highly trained criminal syndicate. They were hunting a teenager. He proved that when a financial system relies entirely on trust, without rapid verification, it leaves the vault wide open for anyone who understands the lag time. Emboldened by his success, his lies escalated. He successfully infiltrated high-level professional environments, assuming identities as a lawyer, a college professor, and even the chief resident pediatrician at a Georgia hospital. While masquerading as a doctor for months, he relied entirely on a team of medical interns to handle the patient care. He firmly drew the line at performing actual surgeries to ensure he never caused direct physical harm. But the noise of his crimes finally drew the attention of the federal government. FBI agent Joseph Shea was assigned to the case, kicking off an exhausting, multi-year international chase. The run finally ended in 1969. Authorities cornered and arrested Abagnale in France, leading to a cascade of harsh prison sentences handed down by multiple countries before he was sent back to the US. His intellect had kept him a step ahead of law enforcement for years, but the sheer logistical weight of maintaining so many fabricated lives made his capture a mathematical certainty. Back in the States, the FBI faced a growing crisis. Institutional fraud was spiking globally, and their standard prevention methods were failing, while the man who had effortlessly defeated them sat uselessly in a prison cell. So the government offered him a highly unusual arrangement. They would grant him his freedom, but only on the condition that he use his insider knowledge to teach them how to catch people exactly like him. Abagnale accepted. He stepped entirely out of the criminal underworld and began consulting directly for the FBI and major financial institutions, designing the detection systems that would secure modern banking. The FBI recognized that their existing protocols could not anticipate Abagnale's specific methods of social engineering. By incorporating his insights, they were able to build verification layers that addressed flaws they previously didn't know existed. He entered his 20s as one of the most wanted con artists in modern history, and spent the rest of his life as one of law enforcement's most trusted advisors. His life reveals a clear truth about human capability. Extraordinary adaptability and high intelligence do not inherently belong to heroes or villains. They are completely neutral traits. Abagnale's transition showed how high-level criminal logic can be institutionalized. The same instincts that allowed a teenager to manipulate global banking systems eventually provided the blueprints for a more secure financial landscape.